I'll be comparing the Xbox Series S and the PlayStation 5 Digital Only Edition in this video. The battle of the disc-less consoles is about to begin. This is the video for you if you're looking to buy a new gaming console, but don't care too much about it having a disc drive and you want to save a little cash. Microsoft's smaller, less expensive discless Xbox, the Xbox Series S, will be compared to the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, which is basically the PlayStation 5 without a disc drive. In order to hopefully ease your decision, we will be comparing these two modern gaming consoles. Price is the primary deciding factor between these two consoles, and the Xbox Series S comes out on top because it is £100 less expensive than the PlayStation 5. While this PlayStation 5 Digital Edition costs around £350, you can get one of these Series S's for around $250, and they're even cheaper on the used market. That gives the Series S 1 point. The less expensive console is the Series S, and the games and online services are roughly the same price for both consoles. Thus, the Series S is the less costly console in terms of cost. You will be saving about £100 going with the Series S over the PlayStation 5. So the second thing we're going to compare between these two consoles is the design. Let's take a look at the Xbox Series S, which is basically just a white cuboid. I must admit that I like the way the Series S looks. Compared to the PlayStation 5, it is, in my opinion, more industrial and in many respects has a more compact and useful design. Aside from not having a disc drive, the Series S is doing fairly well in terms of input-output. It also has the recognizable black fan, which gives the console some contrast. It features a controller pairing button, a power button, and a USB Type-A port on the front. It's doing fairly well in terms of the console's back. It features an Ethernet port, 2 USB-A ports, an HDMI output, a power slot, and a storage expansion slot. USB-C ports, which the PlayStation 5 has, are one feature that this Series S lacks. If you're thinking about purchasing one of these, keep in mind that it does not have any USB-C ports. Let's move on to the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition's design. As you can see, I think the design of the PlayStation 5 is far more intriguing. Some people might find its iconic vampire color design appealing. Another degree of customization that the Series S lacks is the option to remove the white panels on the sides and replace them with panels of various colors and designs. It's important to note that these two consoles differ in size. As you can see, the Series S is a larger console than the PlayStation 5 Slim, which is the smaller version of the PlayStation 5. Therefore, the Series S is most likely the best option if you're looking for a smaller, more portable console. I also brought up the PlayStation 5's overall design when I was unpacking the device. If you want to watch that, there'll be a link somewhere up at the top of the screen. However, I still think this console's shape is great. This shape seems really awkward to me. It's not quite as simple to mount next to a TV as the Xbox Series S, and if you want to stand the console upright, it could topple over if you don't get a stand like this. Therefore, I believe the Series S wins when it comes to simply being able to place the console next to your TV. In contrast to the PlayStation 5, this console has rubber feet on the back and bottom, allowing you to simply pop it down and keep it stable and safe. I do want to bring up the PlayStation 5 Slim's I/O before we continue. Therefore, it has a power button and 2 USB-C ports on the front. The console's back looks a lot like the Series S's. I've got a power port, 2 USB-A ports, an Ethernet, and an HDMI. Therefore, if you purchase a PlayStation 5 Slim Digital Edition, like the one I have here, you can later upgrade the device to include a disc drive if you so desire. The fact that the disc drive is modular means that you can purchase the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, and if you decide later on that you do want a disc drive, you can purchase one separately and connect it to the system, enabling you to play physical media on your PlayStation 5. And to the best of my knowledge, the Series S does not have this feature. I don't believe the PlayStation 5 has the advantage of being able to add a disc drive later on. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button if you are enjoying this video before we continue. The performance and hardware specifications of these two consoles will be the subject of our next discussion. Therefore, the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition appears to have won hands down. Because the specifications of the digital edition of the PlayStation 5 are identical to those of the full-size PlayStation 5, this console is far more powerful than the Series S. Whereas with the Series S, this has stripped down specs compared with the Series X. So this is a less powerful console. So the question is, do the less powerful specs of the Series S actually make a difference when it comes to gaming? And the honest answer is sometimes. The Series S will run some games at a lower frame rate and some at a lower resolution. For instance, Elden Ring will run at 50 to 60 frames per second at 1080p when the Series S is set to performance presets. As is the case with many Series S games, the PlayStation 5 will run the game at a comparable frame rate, but in 1440p. It will run them really well, just at a lower resolution than the PlayStation 5 or the Series X. And at the end of the day, if you want better performance and better visuals, then you're probably better off looking at the PlayStation 5 just because it's a more powerful console. The last hardware comparison between these two consoles is storage. The PlayStation 5, in particular the slim version, has 1 terabyte of internal storage, whereas the base Series S model only has 500 gigabytes. Although the base model of this console only has 500 gigabytes, they do sell a slightly more expensive terabyte version. So that is definitely something to take into account when deciding between these two consoles. The games that are available for the Xbox and PlayStation 5 will be the subject of our next discussion. This part of the video is highly subjective, but since these are gaming consoles, it is crucial to consider the kinds of games that can be played on them. It is up to you which games you like best, because both of these consoles can play many of the same games, but they also each have exclusive titles. Therefore, I believe that the PlayStation has a reputation for having the better single-player exclusives. You can play games like God of War, Spider-Man, and Demon's Souls, which are all PlayStation exclusives. However, I believe Xbox has improved, and there are some good Xbox exclusives, so if you enjoy the Halo series, you can play all the old Halo games. It's also important to note that Microsoft now owns a lot of game studios, including Activision Blizzard, which makes Call of Duty. Although I don't believe Microsoft intends to make the Call of Duty series Xbox exclusive, you never know. Additionally, Microsoft recently acquired Bethesda, the company that created Fallout and Skyrim, so it's important to keep in mind that Microsoft now owns a number of major game studios, so it's possible that the next Fallout or Skyrim will be Xbox exclusive. Although I doubt it will happen, you never know. I will also discuss these two consoles' game subscription services. Game Pass Ultimate is available on Xbox, while PlayStation Plus Premium is available on PlayStation. Each of these subscription services costs between £10 and £15 per month. In my opinion, Game Pass has always been the superior service. There have been more games, and I still believe that it is. They are similar to Netflix for games, in that you subscribe and then have access to a variety of games that you can install on both consoles. Although Game Pass offers a greater selection of games than PlayStation Plus, the latter has overtaken Game Pass in recent years. So I was recently having a browse on the PlayStation Plus game collection, and there are actually a decent number of good games. It's good to see that games like God of War and Ratchet & Clank are accessible on PlayStation Plus, but the situation with Game Pass is comparable. I won't pick a winner because Game Pass offers a ton of exclusive games that you can play for free. In my opinion, both of these services are quite good. Since it is evident that you cannot store physical media on both of these consoles, those services are worthwhile to consider if you decide to purchase either of them. Therefore, using one of these subscription services is probably the best way to play a wide variety of games without shelling out hundreds of pounds. I'm glad to report that both Game Pass and PlayStation Plus are respectable, so you won't likely be let down if you choose either of these. In conclusion, what console do you choose? Which do you prefer, the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition or the Xbox Series S? In conclusion, the smaller and less costly of the two consoles is the Series S. Because it fits in your backpack, this console is ideal if you want a portable console. This is unquestionably a great choice because of its lovely small size and the abundance of modern games you can play with Game Pass. The PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, however, is an excellent system. Compared to the Series S, it is more powerful. Along with an additional 500 gigabytes of internal storage, this console also includes more single-player-only games. Which of these two consoles do you ultimately prefer? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'll see you all in my upcoming video.